Haven't we done this before?
I have no record of a previous encounter.
We have met. I am sure of it.
Hello, and welcome to another marvelous video. RoboCop and Terminator are two of science fiction's most recognizable figures. They were both developed in the 1980s and represented the worries and anxieties of the day, from the growth of technology to the prospect of nuclear war. Despite being from distinct realms, the two brands have collaborated on countless crossovers in comic books and video games. Each of these crossovers delves into the human-machine interaction, the nature of consciousness, and the battle for survival in a dystopian future. This video will examine all of the crossovers between RoboCop and Terminator and assess how they contribute to the concepts and myths of these two fundamental franchises. So without further ado, let's begin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. RoboCop vs. the Terminator 1994 video game. The RoboCop vs. Terminator video game, which was released in 1994 for several gaming systems, was an action-packed, side-scrolling adventure that matched two of science fiction's most prominent characters against each other. Developed by Virgin Games, the game brought together the futuristic world of RoboCop and the post-apocalyptic landscape of Terminator in a showdown that fans had long been waiting for. The game's plot matched the comics, in which RoboCop's technology was used to build Skynet. Skynet declared war on mankind after becoming self-aware, sending Terminators back in time to crush the Resistance. The Terminators, on the other hand, came across RoboCop. Aside from the opening sentence, the game only offered a little in the way of a storyline. This was unfortunate because there were several possible story moments to drive gameplay. Nonetheless, the game's primary focus was on the action, which it provided in plenty. The game was structured with 10 levels, each with a primary objective. These objectives range from simple tasks like rescuing hostages and destroying satellite dishes, to more complicated objectives like staying alive. Although these objectives were optional, they were provided health boosts and bonus points that led to extra lives. Most of the environment was destructible and contained weapons and items that could be collected. In the game's early stages, health and extra lives were abundant, making the game quite forgiving. However, there were ample opportunities to accumulate high scores, and for a good reason. As the game progressed to Stage 6 and into the future, the game became more challenging and intense. The game's difficulty in the Terminator world became unreasonably high. This level was overly long and packed with enemies, dropping health items and extra lives every few steps. The sole objective in Stage 6 was to stay alive, and the game was not kidding around. Even with the best weapons available in the game, RoboCop died frequently. One of the most notable aspects of the game was its graphics and design. The game's visuals were impressive for its time, with detailed character models and backgrounds that brought the world of RoboCop and Terminator to life. The game also featured a variety of weapons and power-ups, such as the flame gun and bazooka, which added to the gameplay's excitement and intensity. The gameplay itself was challenging, requiring precision and timing to navigate through levels and defeat enemies. However, one of the game's most significant shortcomings was its lack of variety. While the game had impressive visuals and challenging gameplay, there were only a limited number of enemies and environments to face. This made the game repetitive, which contributed to its lukewarm reception at the time of its release. The Genesis version of RoboCop vs. the Terminator aptly depicted both series' bleak atmosphere and setting. The dirty streets of Detroit and the desolate future were rendered beautifully in 16-bit graphics. The sprites were intricately animated and highly detailed. Although the enemy variety was limited, everything died in a spectacular explosion of gore and sparks. The soundtrack was not remarkable, but given the sound effects were more prevalent, it was not a significant loss. Despite its shortcomings, the RoboCop vs. Terminator video game remains a beloved classic among fans of both franchises. Its innovative concept of combining two popular science fiction universes and its impressive graphics and gameplay make it a must-play for any fan of the genre. Despite the limited enemy variety, the game's challenging difficulty and engaging combat make it a timeless classic that stands for the test of time. RoboCop vs. the Terminator 1992 comic book series. RoboCop vs. the Terminator was a 4-issue comic book crossover series published by Dark Horse Comics in 1992. It was written by Frank Miller and illustrated by Walt Simonson. The plot of these series commenced with Skynet dispatching 3 Terminators to Detroit in the past to safeguard a distressed RoboCop from a solitary human soldier who was sent to eliminate him. After realizing that the technology employed in this creation was partially accountable for the emergence of Skynet in the future, RoboCop embarked on a mission to single-handedly dismantle Skynet in the aftermath of the apocalypse. The surprising revelation set the tone for the 4-issue miniseries and gave an entirely new perspective of the narrative of Terminator. Skynet was no longer portrayed as an anonymous creator of Terminators, and it was then depicted as a result of RoboCop's actions, even though the process by which he corrupted it involved complications related to time travel. A significant aspect of the narrative concentrated on his consciousness, which was his only remaining part, evading and maneuvering through Skynet's networks and battling back as much as possible. For many years, RoboCop's human mind, Alex Murphy, had remained hidden with Skynet's consciousness, escaping detention as humanity's extinction proceeded. Murphy waited for the moment Skynet was preoccupied with other concerns in the fight against humanity before acting. Eventually, a human attack presented an opportunity for Murphy to construct a Terminator body that resembled his former self. Despite encountering resistance from human fighters, he convinced them of his allegiance and worked alongside them to devise a plan to take down Skynet. The comic's premise followed that of the originator Terminator film, but it added a twist by introducing multiple Terminators that traveled through time, unlike the movie, which had only one. The comic followed the standard Terminator narrative, with the present-day heroes foiling the efforts of the future machines. RoboCop visited the grave of Alex Murphy, his human incarnation, after thwarting the time-traveling Terminators from murdering the rebel warrior. During his arrival, a second time-traveling Terminator came, intending to fight the future robots and beat RoboCop, taking only his head. The Terminator then merged RoboCop into Skynet and initiated the corruption procedure, dooming the future to confront nuclear war and an invasion of robots once more. Although the final result of the Terminator tale remained unchanged, having RoboCop as the reason behind humanity's downfall was a fascinating and poetic modification to the conventional narrative. Furthermore, Walt Simonson's art was fantastic, perfectly conveying the harsh and grim environment in which both characters lived. Frank Miller's script, which had excellent dialogue and story pace, complemented the graphics. Finally, RoboCop vs. Terminator is a must-read for lovers of both characters. It's a traditional comic book crossover with action, science fiction, and time travel elements. The tale provides a unique spin on the original premise, distinguishing it from other Terminator adaptations. Terminator RoboCop Kill Human 2011 comic book series. Terminator RoboCop Kill Human was a comic book series comprising 4 issues. It was written by Rob Williams and illustrated by P.J. Holden and was published by Dynamite Entertainment in 2011. The plot of Kill Human took place in a future where Skynet had wiped out most of humanity, and despite the Resistance efforts, Skynet's mainframe continued to enforce inhumane laws. While attempting to retrieve the Auto-9 from a deactivated RoboCop, which was on display at a robotics museum, Lauren, the only surviving girl, accidentally reactivated the cyborg. Following the death of Lauren, RoboCop discovered the cause of humanity's downfall and journeyed back in time to Cyberdyne Systems to alter the events that transpired in Terminator 2: Judgment Day in an effort to prevent the bleak fate of mankind. As the story progressed, RoboCop confronted the T-800 Terminator and ultimately shut him down. RoboCop's main objective was not to protect John Connor, but to destroy Skynet and save humanity, as he had seen the future and knew the outcome. He faced the dangerous T-1000 with Sarah and John Connor when the T-800 was shut down. Remember the famous chase sequence of Terminator 2, where T-1000 chased the protagonists in a police helicopter while they were in a SWAT van? Yeah, now replace T-800 with RoboCop on the van's wheels, resulting in an equally thrilling chase scene. The T-800 Terminator would eventually be turned back on the closing segments of the series to protect John Connor. In the end, RoboCop trained and eliminated both Terminators and sacrificed the line of John Connor to save humanity. In the final moments of the series, readers were left with uncertainty regarding whether RoboCop was sent to assassinate John Connor on behalf of Skynet or not. What made Terminator RoboCop Kill Human compelling was how it explored the themes of free will and autonomy. In addition to exploring these themes, the artwork in Kill Human was stunning. P.J. Holden's illustrations vividly captured the gritty, post-apocalyptic world, and the action sequences were thrilling and well choreographed. Overall, Terminator RoboCop Kill Human is a must-read for fans of both franchises. It combines 2 iconic characters in a gripping story that explores complex themes while delivering thrilling action sequences. Revisiting the well-known backdrop of one of the most legendary sci-fi action films is an enjoyable experience. However, what makes it even more thrilling is the unexpected shift in the storyline from what we are accustomed to. It is a testament to the enduring popularity of these characters and the creativity of the writers and artists who bring them to life on the page.
Haven't we done this before?
I have no record of a previous encounter.
We have met. I am sure of it.
Mortal Kombat 11 2019 video game. Mortal Kombat 11 was the 11th edition of the well-known fighting video game franchise created by NetherRealm Studios and released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. The game boasted a broad selection of characters, some new and some returning, each possessing their own unique combat style and moveset. RoboCop was added to the game's roster as a downloadable content character. Although not a full-fledged crossover, RoboCop did interact with various characters from the Terminator franchise, including Arnold Schwarzenegger's portrayal of the T-800. Marvelous verdict. That brings us to the end of the video. The crossover events featuring RoboCop and Terminator enable enthusiasts of both series to witness their beloved characters collide and engage in battles with each other. They offer an exhilarating mixture of action and sci-fi, with each character bringing their unique features and abilities to the mix. These crossover stories, spanning from comic book series such as RoboCop vs. Terminator to video games like Mortal Kombat 11, have consistently kept viewers engaged and entertained. With the unwavering popularity of both franchises, there will undoubtedly be more crossovers in the future that will keep fans eagerly anticipating what's next. Which was your favorite crossover among them? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit the like button and share it with all your friends. I'll see you in the next one.